Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into this really ancient Buddhist text, and it reveals something that's, believe it or not, a super modern tool for motivation. But to really get it, we first have to look at this leader's, well, really strange practice. So, picture this. You've got this really respected leader, right? And every single time one of his followers passes away, he makes this big public announcement about where they ended up in the afterlife. It's kind of weird, isn't it? Like, why on earth would you do that? It's a real puzzle. Now, our modern minds, they'd probably jump to some pretty cynical conclusions. We'd think, okay, is this just for show? Is he trying to get more followers, more donations? But the real reason, wow, it's way more profound. And it's got this powerful lesson for all of us. To get there, though, we've got to rewind and go back to the start of the story. All right, so let's set the scene. We're in a grove of trees, way back in ancient India. The Buddha's just sitting there out in the open, and he's surrounded by hundreds of monks. And we're not just talking about rookies here. Some of his most respected, senior followers are in the crowd. So you might expect some big, grand sermon, but that's not what happens. Instead, the whole thing kicks off with a question. And it's a question that just hangs there in the air, creating this super uncomfortable moment. So the Buddha looks out at all these monks, and he asks them something really direct. He's basically saying, hey, you guys have given up everything to be here. So, are you happy? Is this spiritual life actually working for you? You know, it's a simple but pretty intense check-in. And get this, he doesn't just ask it one time. Nope. He asks the exact same question 3 different times. Can you just imagine the weight of that? The silence just getting louder and louder each time. So he asks the first time, and what does he get back? Nothing. Just absolute silence. Out of hundreds of people, not a single one says a word. So he asks again. His voice just cuts through that stillness. And still, crickets. The silence at this point feels even heavier, you know? It's getting pretty intense. Then, for a third and final time, he asks, and still, no answer. You can almost feel that tension in the air, like, what is going on here? Why isn't a single person saying anything? Okay, so clearly the group approach isn't working. So the Buddha switches gears. He singles out a smaller, well-known group of his followers. There's a guy in there named Anuruddha, and he asks them the question directly. And what do you know? This time, they actually answer. When he asks them one-on-one, they're like, yup, we are satisfied. And then the Buddha takes that moment to remind them why they even started on this crazy, demanding path. It wasn't to, run away from bills or get out of trouble. It was for something way, way bigger. And this is really the heart of it all. Their whole motivation, it wasn't about fixing small, everyday problems. No, it was this epic quest to solve the ultimate problem of existence, that whole cycle of birth, old age, death, and suffering. I mean, this was their life's mission. So then the Buddha kind of lays out this fundamental choice that everyone on this path has to face. On one hand, you've got a mind that's just cluttered, occupied by all these hindrances, things like desire, ill will, doubt. Or, on the other hand, you've done the work, and you've reached a state of bliss, where your mind is just clear and joyful and totally at peace. And to really drive home what that end goal is like, the Buddha uses this amazing metaphor. He says that a person who's fully realized, they've completely cut off all those negative states at the root. It's like a palm tree that's had its top chopped off. It is completely, totally incapable of ever growing back. They're gone for good. Okay, so this brings us full circle, right? Back to our starting question. Now that we get the stakes, this huge, immense goal of ending all suffering, the Buddha is finally ready to explain what's up with those strange public announcements. So Anuruddha basically asks him straight up, all right, so what's the deal? Why do you declare where all these disciples end up? And before the Buddha gives the real reason, he first makes it super clear what the reason is not. And man, he is crystal clear about this. He's like, look, this has nothing to do with tricking people or flattering them. It's not for fame. It's not for ego. It's not to get people to like me. He just goes down the list and dismantles every single cynical thought we might have had. And then here it is, the big reveal. Those announcements,
They're a strategic tool, a tool for inspiration. See, when people of faith hear that somebody, a real person they knew, actually did it, that they reached the goal, it fills them with this incredible joy. And that joy isn't just a nice feeling, it's fuel. It's what makes them say, wow, and then apply their own minds to go after that very same goal.
And here's what's so important. This isn't some secret elite club thing. The good news gets shared about everyone in the community. We're talking monks and nuns who reached full enlightenment, sure, but also regular laymen and laywomen who hit other huge spiritual milestones. The proof that this path works is made available to everybody. So, how does this actually work psychologically? Well, the text lays out a really clear blueprint. It shows us exactly how to take someone else's good news and turn it into our own personal motivation. It's all about this powerful, virtuous cycle. So it starts when you hear that someone you actually knew succeeded. It's not some abstract idea, it's a real person. And you feel this genuine happiness for them. Then you start thinking about them. You remember their good qualities, and this little thought pops into your head. You know, if they could do it, maybe I can too. And bam, that's the spark. That's what inspires you to get back to work with renewed energy. So at the end of the day, hearing about somebody else's win gives you real, tangible proof that this whole path is actually possible. It creates role models you can relate to. It takes these huge abstract goals and turns them into something that feels, well, achievable. And the joy you feel, it's not passive. It's an active source of energy. It's the thing that bridges that gap between just admiring someone and actually applying those lessons to yourself. It gives you the confidence you need to keep going. You know, this ancient teaching reveals such a timeless truth. Seeing other people succeed isn't a distraction. It's not a reason to get jealous. It's essential fuel. It's a reminder that their good news, their success story, well, that could be the very proof you need to apply your own mind and keep pushing forward on your own path.